free sax. Officer of the day, prepare the altar. Thank you. Color guard, post colors. And salute. Present arms. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Order, arms. Chaplain? Is the rabbi here? Oh, sorry. I was looking on that side.
I'm to the right today. Let us pray. Ribbono Shel Olam, Master of the Universe. Rosh Hashanah is also known as the Yom Hadin, a day of judgment. We read as part of our prayers, Mi Yichyeh u'mi Yamus, who shall live and who shall die. This applies not only to individuals, but to nations and organizations as well. As a Vietnam veteran, in light of what is now happening in real time in Afghanistan, in the company of my fellow Vietnam veterans, I'm experiencing deja vu. I've been there, done that experience, reminiscent of Saigon 26 years ago. We are now compelled by Rosh Hashanah itself to make a cheshbon hanefesh, to undergo self-examination and introspection, and formulate both a tactical and strategic mission for ourselves. We must ask ourselves, where are we now, and where do we want to be, and how do we get there? We must have goals. Too ambitious a goal yields frustration. One not ambitious enough produces complacency. May Hashem, the creator of us all, of all mankind, protect and save our nation, these United States of America, and preserve it as a nation of Rahmanis, a merciful nation, which you, as Jewish war veterans, have protected in the past, and may you continue your efforts into the future. May our land, our blessed land, be strengthened and preserved as one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. Yes.
With Rosh Hashanah coming, it's a mitzvah to hear the shofar, and now there's a lot more of us than there were at the minyan.
Sound the shofar every weekday morning during the month of Elul, which precedes Chodesh Tishrei, the month of Tishrei, which on the first of Tishrei is Rosh Hashanah. And it's a reminder that, if you're a jogger or a runner, and I once was one, you have to stretch and warm up. If you're going to do tshuva and cheshbon hanefesh, which I mentioned earlier, you have to warm up too. And blowing the shofar is the warm up. I haven't blown shofar for a while. Under pressure. Whoa.
Yasher Koach. Officer of the day, please escort the JWV National President, Natalie Blank, to the podium. I was going to let you go first, Natalie, but I'll go first. First of all, take your seats. I won't cover everything I covered at the NEC meeting. You're all very brave to be here. I want to thank you for being here. We are, continuing a long tradition of JWV, 125 years. It's almost like it was in 1896 with 63 members. But that's just how the hand we're dealing with COVID. So remember to wear your masks at the convention. Remember to keep your distance. Remember to go home safe, and we're not going to bring home any disease. We don't need to have the Jewish war veterans disease. It's like Legionnaire's disease. Without any further ado, like I said, thank you for being here. I want to welcome the president of the JWVA. She had the same troubles I had this year. It was a rough year for all of us. And please make remarks.
I never heard of a JWV virus. Whoever thought a year ago we will be sitting here, meeting and greeting each other in person. It is good to see everyone here for our convention. It's been a long time since we've seen each other, hugged each other, or broke bread together. I would like to wish the JWV and JWV members a successful convention. Thank you.
We have several recorded messages from people in government that I'd like to tell you about first. The first is from the second gentleman, Douglas Craig Imhoff, born in 1964, is an American lawyer who is the second gentleman of the United States. He is married to the 49th Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris. And as you all know, he's a member of the tribe. Okay, as first ever husband of a vice president, Imhoff is the first second gentleman in American history. He is also the first Jewish spouse of a vice president. Imhoff began his career as an entertainment lawyer. He was managing director of Venable LLC's West Coast offices and later became a partner at DLA Piper. He is also a distinguished visiting professor at Georgetown University Law Center. He has 2 children, Cole and Ella, from his previous marriage. And in his role as second gentleman, he plans to focus on equal access to justice and legal representation. Thank you.
Hello, everyone, and congratulations, Jewish war veterans, on your 125th anniversary. It's a privilege to join you today as the first second gentleman and the first Jewish spouse of an American vice president or president. Thank you to National Commander Jeffrey Sachs, Vice Commander Alan Paley, and all of you for the important work Jewish war veterans of the United States of America do for communities around the country. And special thanks to Department of Massachusetts Commander Jeffrey Blonder for reaching out to the White House and inviting us to this event. The history of Jewish people fighting in America's wars is long. and it's deeply woven into the fabric of American history. Jewish service members have been a fixture in our country's military since our nation's founding. They fought for independence at Valley Forge and to preserve our Union during the Civil War. They stormed the beaches of Normandy and liberated the camps in Auschwitz. And they have served and sacrificed with dignity and distinction in every battle and every war through the present day. Heroism is marked not just by valor on the battlefield, but also by the values we pledge to uphold, to stand up against discrimination, to preserve religious freedom, to fight injustice. For 125 years, Jewish war veterans have led this charge. In the United States of America, you, our Jewish veterans, have been the pillars of our communities. Your leadership and commitment have helped shape the history of our country and our people. And that's because the principles of our Jewish faith have been the driving force behind your service in and out of uniform. We are the faithful disciples of justice. We're committed to healing the world and to bringing charity and kindness to others. Our current era is fraught with its own challenges, but when I look to organizations like yours, I am reminded that the good people of this world will always strive to persevere. So I thank you for your service. Your dedication to duty is an inspiration to us all.
Now, I just wanted to thank Jeff Blonder for making that happen. Jeff, where you at? Up, stand up. Thank you very much. He reached out to the White House and got us that message of greetings. Our next recording, and let me say that the Deputy Secretary who we're going to hear from, Deputy Secretary Donald Remy, really wanted to be here, but because of COVID, the government wouldn't let him travel, and it's just what we're all dealing with. We know this. He did visit the museum in person and headquarters and met our staff. And today I'm honored to introduce the Honorable Donald M. Remy, Veterans Affairs 9th Deputy Secretary, who was sworn in by Secretary McDonough on July 19, 2021. Before coming to the Veterans Administration, Mr. Remy was the Chief Operating Officer and Chief Legal Officer at the nonprofit National College Athletic Association, overseeing all strategic planning, operations, budget, management, and legal affairs of the 1 billion enterprise. And Mr. Remy brings prior government experience as Deputy Assistant Attorney General for the Department of Justice, Assistant to the General Counsel for the United States Army, and law clerk at the 6th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. He's a veteran himself. Mr. Remy comes from a family tradition of military service. His father was awarded the Bronze Star in Vietnam, and his brother, uncle, late father-in-law, and many other family members and close friends are veterans. Mr. Remy has said, "My family would not be where it is but for the Department of Veterans Affairs. There is no greater mission than the mission to serve our veterans." Join me in welcoming the message of VA Deputy Secretary Donald Remy.
Greetings, everyone. I'm honored to have the opportunity to share some thoughts with you, our country's longest-running veterans service organization. This makes 126 national conventions and counting. Congratulations. What an amazing run and testament to your contributions to our nation. I so wish I could be there with you in New Orleans. It's a beautiful, historic city, near and dear to my heart. You may know that I call New Orleans, Nolans, home. While I was raised on military installations across the globe, my roots in this town run deep. It's where I spent my summers and holidays, where my father grew up, and where my parents settled after retirement. It's where my extended family remains. And it's the city that I joined forces with many Americans, including our veteran community, to rebuild after Hurricane Katrina. Oh, how I wish I were there with you today. I could share some stories. But I do so look forward to seeing you in Arlington for Veterans Day, when you co-host that ceremony with VA in this, your 125th year. What an appropriate way to celebrate that hallmark. Jeff Sachs, thank you. Thank you, man, for that kind introduction, and more importantly, for your long service in uniform. 3 decades serving our country as a Cold War warrior, and 25 years serving the people of the Windy City with the Chicago Police Department. That's a long time on the front lines. Let me also recognize Auxiliary National President, Miss Natalie Blank. Natalie, thank you for giving so much of yourself to the JWV family, and by extension, to this country. And to everyone who's worked so hard on the convention. Kara Rinkoff is one of so many. I appreciate your additional work so I could participate virtually. Kara and I had an opportunity to meet last week at the National Museum of American Jewish Military History. What an amazing place, and what an amazing person Kara proved to be. We sat and we reflected on the sacrifices Jewish war veterans have made for this nation. The visit to the museum was bittersweet for me, as I was excited to learn so much, but it also made me long even more to be with you today in person. I know Executive Director Colonel Herb Rosenbleeth isn't there in person either, so I'm in pretty good company. Herb, I suspect you and Francine are watching from home. My greetings to both of you. For JWV, Herb has been an institution for well over 3 decades now, and this is his last convention as Executive Director. On behalf of Secretary McDonough and the veterans we serve, thank you, Herb, for your devotion. Thank you for walking your path alongside VA. And thank you for lending your powerful voice to Congress on behalf of America's veterans. You were right there with VA when we became a department, ushering in a new era that gave veterans, as President Reagan said, a seat at the table in our national affairs. And before that, you gave this country 28 years of honorable, courageous, devoted service in both the Marine Corps and the Army, in Panama, in Germany, in Iran, and in Vietnam as an advisor with the U.S. Military Assistance Command, Vietnam, MACV. And if you ask people at the VA to tell you what Herb is like, here's what they'll tell you. They'll tell you he's always focused on giving back. They'll tell you he treats people with dignity and respect. They'll tell you he's kind, and he'll greet you with a big smile and a firm handshake. I've got a special place in my heart for Vietnam veterans like Herb, because I'm the son of a Vietnam veteran, a retired Army Master Sergeant who shares my name. My father was awarded the Bronze Star for valor and heroic service in Vietnam. He taught his troops how to soldier. He taught them how to survive. And he brought those lessons home to my sister, my brother, and me. I often joke that my first words were be, know, and do while standing at parade rest. And after growing up with him as my hero, there wasn't much doubt that I'd follow in my dad's footsteps and start my career in the Army, just as my older brother did in the Air Force. I'm sure that many of you with generational military lineage can relate that my father, even to this day, has never stopped being a soldier. I often look for and follow his advice. Now, don't tell him this. Most of the time, he's right. I'm eternally grateful to my dad for his service and for the many lessons he taught me. Because of him and other veterans I've worked alongside in my career, like my mentor, the late Judge Nathaniel Jones, a World War II veteran, I'm able to be here serving you and our fellow veterans as VA's Deputy Secretary. Let me talk about Judge Jones for a second. He distinguished himself as a lawyer, a jurist, an academic, a public servant, and probably most known as a defender of social justice. I mention him my mentor today for 2 reasons. One, he was a champion of attempts to identify and eradicate racism in the military when in 1967, he staffed the Kerner Commission at the request of President Johnson. And 2, it was during my time in Cincinnati with the judge I first became aware of the contributions of the Jewish veterans to the military through his activity as the past chairman for the National Conference of Christians and Jews and his receipt of the Jewish Community Relations Council Peace of the City Award. The lessons I learned from this World War II veteran, well, they remain with me today. And because of all the veterans in my life, I've got the deepest appreciation for the work that JWV has done and will continue to do for our nation and its veterans. So from the bottom of my heart, I just want to say thank you. But it's impossible not to feel the weight of this past year and a half. And the struggle's not over yet. When I think about the nearly 615,000 people we've lost to COVID, and more we're losing every day, I remember that they're your people. They're my people. They are our people. They are veterans we serve, friends we want to call, family members missing from our dinner tables. We remember all those we lost, and our hearts go out to those they left. But it's also important to remember that there are so many veterans and service members out there right now whose lives were saved because of the work we've done together. And our VA employees have shown unwavering strength and determination. I'm so proud of them. When PPE was running low, they invented reusable 3D PPE and got it straight to the front lines. When it wasn't safe to go to the hospital, they cared for our vets online, ramping up telehealth appointments from 2,500 per day last March to 45,000 per day a year later. And when the vaccine became available, they sprang into action and vaccinated more than 3.6 million people. I know all of you understand those kinds of sacrifices so well, because many of you and your members have been right there supporting us and volunteering through the pandemic. You've been donating masks, bringing food to staff members at hospitals, and volunteering your time and resources even during these challenging times. Volunteering with the VA has been a JWV tradition for a long, very long time. The Voluntary Service Advisory Committee just celebrated their 75th year in May. And JWV's been with them from the very beginning. Part of the 737 million hours volunteered to care for veterans, nearly 350,000 JWV hours over the last decade. When Audie L. Murphy VA Hospital in San Antonio needed help reopening, the Fisher House, when COVID let up just a little bit, it was JWV's Post 753 commander, David Martin's members who volunteered to donate funds to buy groceries and other supplies to help them. And Commander Murray Zokauer, JWV Post 409 in Clearwater, Florida, volunteered to donate baby strollers and other items for newborns and expecting veterans in support of Bay Pines VA's drive-through baby shower in May. In short, we've been pulling together to get through the pandemic just like we always have. And we're grateful for everything you've done and everything you're doing now. But the pandemic is far from over. We've lost thousands of veterans to this deadly disease. Now the Delta variant is once again causing an exponential increase in infections, hospitalizations, and death. That's why everyone needs to be vaccinated. I can't say it enough. 99% of those dying from COVID right now are unvaccinated. In other words, almost every COVID death right now is preventable. That's why 3 weeks ago, VA mandated vaccines for employees who directly care for vets. And last week, we expanded that mandate to cover an additional 245,000 employees and contractors. And that's why I'm asking all of you, get vaccinated if you haven't already. Thanks to the Save Lives Act, all of you, your spouses and your caregivers, can be vaccinated safely, easily, and free of charge. Vaccinations are how we end this pandemic and get back to some semblance of normalcy. But as we all know, some things, they shouldn't go back to the way they were. At VA, for example, we shouldn't go back to the old way of doing things. The work we've done responding to the pandemic has made us stronger, has made us a better department. Telehealth and teleappeals are allowing us to meet vets where they want, when they want, in unprecedented ways. Outpatient trust scores among vets, well, they rose to about 90% this year. But we're not resting on our laurels. That should be a floor, not a ceiling. Our benefits team rated its millionth disability claim faster this year than almost ever before, as a result of our goal to make sure vets get their benefits on time, every time. And our cemeteries not only stayed open during the pandemic, but also expanded with 6 new locations. So what's the bottom line? We're now providing more care and more benefits to more veterans than ever before. So as we look to the future, we're not trying to build a VA that goes back to the old normal. We're going to continue to do better. We're going to continue to be better. Why? Well, to answer that, I'll refer to National Commander Bob Zyman's remarks at Arlington National Cemetery 25 years ago this November, in JWV's 100th year when you co-hosted Veterans Day. On that cold, windy morning, Bob admonished, "Never should our government or its agencies be indifferent to or reject the honors due to veterans or to the veterans organizations." In other words, we have to do better and be better for veterans, for you. Because in serving you well, we honor you. And we're working hard to honor you and all veterans by focusing on 4 fundamental principles: advocacy, access, outcomes, and excellence. First, we're working to make sure that VA is the nation's premier advocate for veterans, for their families, their caregivers, and survivors. Veterans have earned the care and services we provide. We exist to best serve them wherever they are, not to do what's easiest for the VA. But let me make one thing clear. Advocacy starts at the top, and you'll find no better veterans advocates than Secretary Dennis McDonough and me. And as a veteran myself and a member of a family who has long relied on VA benefits and services, let me be clear, I'll fight for you. More importantly, I can assure you that no person is more committed, more devoted, more singularly focused on supporting veterans than Dennis McDonough. There's no one better equipped intellectually and professionally to lead VA through the maze of challenges that are Washington, D.C. No, he's not a veteran. No, he's not a healthcare executive, but he's a leader, a tireless, selfless, committed, and capable leader. And I see it up close every single day. As he and I both promised Congress during our confirmation hearings, we're fighting like hell for veterans, their families, caregivers, and survivors. That's what we promised. That's what we're doing. Indeed, all of us in President Biden's administration are of the same mind when it comes to our veterans. We delivered on our promise to Americans' vets with the Save Lives Act. We delivered on our promise with the American Rescue Plan that allocated $17 billion to help us care for vets during the pandemic. And with the proposed $18 billion we're fighting for in reconciliation, we're delivering on our promise to modernize VA facilities to care for vets in the decades ahead. We also are committed to providing timely access to VA resources. We'll move heaven and earth to get veterans timely access to all of their VA resources. That includes world-class health care, earned benefits, and a final resting place that's a lasting tribute to service. A major part of that equation is making sure that veterans have the best possible experience wherever they access VA benefits, wherever in the VA or in the community. That means striking the right balance between direct care and community care. But you should know this: privatizing VA isn't the right balance or the right answer of anything. Let me repeat that. Privatizing VA is not the answer, and that's not going to happen on our watch. We intend to get the VA direct care system on a sustainable path so future generations of veterans will have access to the same great VA healthcare previous generations did. And we're realigning and modernizing VA's healthcare infrastructure to meet veterans' needs. Yeah, we're doing some repairing and we're doing some rebuilding because our infrastructure is critical to veterans' health and the long-term health of our nation. Some people forget VA is the backstop for the nation's healthcare. VA indeed is the beating heart of America's healthcare system, training physicians, supporting civilian healthcare systems during the pandemic, and researching and innovating today to overcome tomorrow's challenges. And VA, we're here to stay. We're also focused on veterans' outcomes. Outcomes for veterans are driving everything we do. If it's not improving access, enhancing outcomes, it's not something we're doing. Because at the end of the day, vets and their families, not us, are the most important judges of our success. And one of the most urgent priorities is preventing veteran suicide. Mental health services are critical for suicide prevention. Keeping them going during the pandemic has been a primary focus. And many vets have adapted seamlessly to the telemental health platforms. They've added 4.4 million sessions already this year. That's more than double their total from all of 2020. Next year's budget will also focus on suicide prevention, investing more than $500 million in outreach programs that address the risk of suicide. And we're building 3 new programs in rural locations to help severely mentally ill vets, creating a new training program designed to attract top-shelf clinicians to those communities, to keep them in rural areas, and to care for the vets living in those areas. It's an all-hands-on-deck effort, because even one veteran death by suicide is one too many. Another outcome we're laser-focused on is ending veterans' homelessness. Every person should have a home. Every veteran should have a home. A few weeks ago, at a homeless vets vaccination event outside of VA headquarters, a veteran came in to get his shot. He wasn't wearing any shoes. So we got him vaccinated, and our canteen staff, they went off and they got him a new pair of shoes. Some would say that story is heartwarming, a job well done. I actually think it's heartbreaking, because that man served our country. He should have shoes on his feet. He should have a roof over his head. There should be no such thing as a homeless veteran. Not here, not now, not in the richest country in the world. So I assure you, through HUD, VASH, SSVF, the Emergency Rental Assistance Program, and the administration's extension of the foreclosure and eviction moratorium, we're going to keep doing whatever it takes to help keep veterans in their homes. Lastly, we're seeking excellence in all we do for veterans. That means leveraging the strength and diversity that defines the veteran population, our VA workforce, and our country. I've long believed in every role that I've ever undertaken, diversity is a strength, never a weakness. That means making sure that we're welcoming all veterans and that every person entering a VA facility feels safe, free of harassment, and free of discrimination. We owe world-class health care, benefits, and services to all veterans, including women, veterans of color, survivors of military sexual trauma, and LGBTQ+ veterans. For too long, too many veterans fought around the world to protect our rights and freedoms, only to return home and fight brutal battles here to defend their own rights and freedoms. Unfortunately, too many of those fights continue to this day. At VA, that fight is over. No veteran should ever have to fight to receive the VA care, benefits, and services that they've earned, no matter who they are, no matter who they love. So that's where the VA is going, continuing to deliver more care, more benefits, and more services to more veterans and future veterans than ever before, with advocacy, access, outcomes, and excellence as our guiding principles. But make no mistake, we can't do this work without you. President Biden has said that our most sacred obligation is preparing and equipping troops we send into harm's way, and when they return home, caring for them and their families. That's the promise that we as a nation make to anyone who signs up for military service. If you take care of us, we'll take care of you. If you fight for us, we'll fight for you. If you have our backs, we will have yours when you transition out of the service. Our nation makes that promise. But we, VA together with JWV, we're among those most responsible for keeping it. As Bob said at Arlington 25 years ago, the fact is, we are. Each and every one of us are brother's keeper. It's a difficult job, but you've done it so well for 125 years, across the country and across generations. You've been there for all of us, no matter the war, no matter the veteran. So here's to another 125. Thank you for your partnership. Thank you for your magnificent work, and thank you for the work we'll be doing together in the years and decades ahead. May God always bless those who have served this great nation. Thank you.
I don't know about you, but for a virtual message, I thought he was talking to me. Thank you, Deputy Secretary Remy. Officer of the Day. Please close the altar. Before I recess us, the convention will break until 4 p.m. We will meet back here. Madam President, where are you going to meet at 4 p.m.? Or what time are you meeting next?
We're meeting at 2:30 for a presentation. And if any gentleman will
Elaine, you want to use the speaker? Yeah, please.
You're all invited to the Esplanade Room at 2:30 this afternoon. We are going to have presentation of teddy bears to the fire department, the police department, the Children's Hospital, Fisher House. We are going to be donating 12 baby baskets to the VA hospital. We're granting a wish to a terminally ill patient this afternoon that's supposed to be here. And all this will take place at 2:30 this afternoon in the Esplanade Room, and you're all invited. Thank you.
Don't forget, there's a membership meeting committee at 2 p.m. also. In your hearts and minds, I want you to remember Mike Berman for Flua Shoma. I believe he's undergoing a procedure today. He's out. All right, so we wish him a speedy recovery. Face the flag, please. Present arms. Order arms. And we stand recessed till 4 p.m. Session board. Okay. Do you have any plans? I was going to ask you that. I got this one guy from Illinois, he's all by himself, so I couldn't. I just don't know where to go. Oh, I know where to go. Right across the street. Oh, perfect. Oh, we did that yesterday, but it was good.
Is Richard Fine in the room?